We good? Yep. Well, obviously, unique day, signing day, and the Bearcats will not make any signatures or have anybody sign on the dotted line today, which is not a bad thing. I know there's a lot of talk with, whether early signing period is a good thing or this, that, or the other thing. For us, I think it's a great thing. It gives us some direction about what it is that we're doing and where we're going, and have a chance to get these guys in here and signed up all early, and then have a little better idea and grasp if you do have an opportunity to kind of use January and the beginning of February to figure out what else you might need for your team, after maybe some guys declare and different things like that. But always a unique time. It still is one of those exciting things for us. It just happened a little bit earlier, and we've continued to move forward. So, as you know, we signed 19 high school kids. That'll be our mentality. Last year we signed 24 high school kids. That's the way we want to go about doing what we do. We truly believe that, having guys here for 4 and 5 years, the ability to develop those guys is where we want to, make our hay. And so, I think you pretty much know those guys. I think we've got 9 of them, 10 of them, nine high school kids, and I think one transfer that came in here in the winter. So they're getting acclimated to what it is we're doing. Had their first mat drill this morning. Kind of like one of those things that you always kind of National Signing Day, indoctrinate to some of the new guys into what mat drills really look like. So had an opportunity to do that this morning. And then really, from the time we've been back from the last game, we've really, me in particular, and some of the other guys have spent a lot of time making sure, kind of shaping the leadership of this team and how we're moving forward with, a bunch of new coaching staff guys. So obviously you'll get an opportunity to talk to and meet some of those guys this afternoon or here after me. But there's some other things, obviously Coach Gino Gaduli moving to be our offensive coordinator. Hiring of Mike Cummings as our offensive line coach, bringing back Walt Stewart as our outside linebackers coach, and then Coach Kerry Combs coming back home here to coach our corners and special teams. So it's always an interesting time, in my 5 years here of what February really looks like, because we've probably had 2 or 3 transitions for this year of new things that kind of, February is a little bit different. But it's been great for us in our program every year, meaning we get some new perspective, we get some new energy, we get some new eyes on all that we're doing, both offensively, defensively, and as well as the program stuff. So we've found a way each and every year of losing some really, really good coaches and people to find a way to get better. And I feel like we've done that this year. And it's the same thing with losing some great players. We're going to find a way to get better. That doesn't mean that you'll have a better quarterback this year. But I tell you, we got a chance to be better in all those positions and all those areas. But it'll be a challenge for all of us, especially the coaching staff.
There haven't been any high school signings in this period, but you have been active in the transfer market. Have you had a similar plan that you've had in years past, or are you adapting and evolving as this thing becomes?
No, we want to keep the same philosophy of what it is that we do. And that's why I kind of started off by saying we signed 24 high school kids last year. We signed 19 high school kids this year. Yes, we do. We've got some transfer guys. We've got a bit of a matrix that we came up with, I think, 4 years ago when it was grad transfers, but it really kind of still falls into us as transfers. There's specific things that if we're going to take a transfer kid, whether he's got 1 year or he's got 4 years. We want some specific things, based on what it is that we've got in each one of those rooms for each position. And we feel like if there's a right fit, then that's what it is that we're looking for. But yes, I think we've got 4 new guys that have come via the transfer portal of some sort. I think will be great additions to our team.
Last year with the coordinator change, you talked about wanting some fresh eyes on the defensive side, bringing Mike Tressel in. Why is it different? Why was it such a no-brainer this year to elevate Gino, someone who was already in the program?
Well, it's been the plan and the process and for a long time. It's not just like it all of a sudden just happened. It's been, Coach Gino and I have talked about it. Coach Denbrock and I had talked about it. We always want to have a succession plan in all that we're doing. And, whether we come in here and it was a 2, a 4, a 6-year plan, and that was everything from, what our coaching staff would be able to look like, what our, budgets of things would look like, what our facilities would look like. As a coach, yeah, you spend a lot of your time with the kids and try to spend as much time doing football as I can. But a lot of the time that I spend, especially between that break of going to play a bowl game and at the end of the season, is making sure you've got a plan for the other things that can happen within your program. And so it was not a difficult thing for us to figure out which direction we were going to go. It's just a matter of when we were going to go that direction.
What was it about Mike Cummings that made him the next in line to be the O-line coach?
Well, I think twofold. I think that looking at his resume of things and what he has done in development of, so to speak, guys that maybe weren't as highly recruited, and what he's done with them in his time at Central Michigan, and his background a little bit more even as an offensive coordinator. With losing Coach Denbrock, I thought that it was important for us to bring some new experience and some different experience into that room, because we do lose a lot of experience with Coach Denbrock, and then the unique connection that our guys knew him, our guys have got some connections with him. I think the dynamics of a room is really, really, really important to me, and I think he kind of hits the point on all those things to give us a chance to be better at what we do.
You're losing two really good corners, obviously, but you're bringing in a guy in Carey who you're familiar with and comfortable with. How does that help maybe quell the uneasy at that position?
Well, it's always about players, and you can't just that one position in particular. It's hard to just think you're going to manufacture guys at corner, especially to play the way our guys did. But it was far beyond just coaching the corners. Having a chance and opportunity to bring Coach Combs back here, our relationship, coaching together for 5 years. I don't stay in touch with a lot of people. I don't know. It's just, you're busy. You got a lot of things going on. When I left all the different places I've left, there's very few, unfortunately, not that we're not acquaintances and friends, but it's hard to stay connected with a lot of people. And Carey's one of those guys. And, working with him, you build a bond, knowing what kind of person he was, on top of even a great coach. So it was a no-brainer for us. In some way, somehow, if he was going to be there was going to be an opportunity for us to find a way to get him onto our coaching staff. And it's unique in how things happen. A position in particular open that fit him even better than what I had envisioned maybe a month and a half ago.
Not new hires, but some new titles for Coach Brown, Coach Hitchler. Is that a way to help, keep it at 4 changes as opposed to 5 or 6, being able to give them a little bit of a promotion? Yeah,
I mean, I think there's a lot of things that come along with winning, and there's a lot of things that come along with success. And I would tell you first and foremost that if the university and John Cunningham wasn't able to back us up, know what we need to do to continue to be successful and to take the program, to higher levels, to get to that top 10 program in the country, it would not have been. We would not have had a chance. We would be making, 8 or 9 moves, and so first and foremost, to have the backing of the president, to have the backing of the board, to have the backing of John Cunningham gives us an opportunity to keep those guys, to continue to progress them. Like you said, you always got to have a plan, in my opinion, for your future and as you're moving forward. And, you say you give these guys your titles. I didn't give anybody a title. These guys earned titles. And, so I think that first and foremost, obviously give it ability to take care of those guys a little bit more. We're also trying to put them in line to know what's going to happen, because we're going to continue to have success. We're going to continue to play really well, and there's going to be continue to be incredible opportunities for a lot of these, players and coaches.
Walt Stewart has had his eye on coming back to Cincinnati since he got into coaching. When you had a chance to finally sit down with him, how much could you feel that pride for Cincinnati and what this is all about in him?
It wasn't hard. I had an opportunity not to really sit down with him, but I at least got to know him, via conversation, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it was all I really had. So, I started to, watch him from afar, and it didn't take long in the first conversation I had with him to realize that he would be an incredible fit for us at some point in time if we ever had an opportunity. And I could tell you there's a lot of great qualities that I don't even know about him yet, because I don't know him that well. But his sense of pride in this place and his loyalty are two things that are really hard to find. And I know there's a lot of other great qualities. Like I said, we'll see him as he's coaching, as I get to know him better. But first and foremost, in the short conversation from 2.5, 3 years ago, I know this: he's got incredible pride in this place, and he is a very loyal man.
You guys talked about how it came to an end here, like him getting the diagnosis.
No, I don't know even the full story, and
Or he went to the doctor. They told him if you play anymore, you're.
I know that part of it, but I don't know the full story. I was hoping this time gets an opportunity. There's a lot of new guys here that, I got to spend some time with to get to know. But I look forward to it. Obviously, I've read some of the articles and the things about Walt, but it's crazy. I mean, we got a guy named Greg Scruggs in there, and we just took a little trip down to Mobile yesterday and spent a couple hours on an airplane, and I learned more about some more things about him. So as we spend time together, all these coaches, we learn more about each other, and I think that's what gives us an opportunity to go through the things that we go through, the ups and the downs, the adversity, is because over time you do get to know people a lot better.
You mentioned the pride with Walt. You've talked a lot about embracing the community and the city as part of the culture of this program. Does that make it even easier to add someone like Coach Combs in addition to you having worked with them and know them?
For sure. I mean, I do believe that there are right fits, and I say that about head coaches. I say that about coaches. There's great coaches out there, and you can go anywhere and be a really good coach. But I think when you put a person into a really good fit, boy, it gives him an opportunity to really excel, and not just for himself, but for the whole program. And Coach Combs is one of those situations, and it's not just the familiarity with, Cincinnati or familiarity with Cincinnati, the pride that comes along with it. I mean, I can remember back to, getting some of the recruits and, Gino having an opportunity to be a big part of it. Well, why? Because of his experiences and his past of being a player that was recruited by a lot of people, and then all of a sudden he chose Cincinnati. There's no greater example to be able to talk to 17, 18-year-olds. They might not know everything, but I sure tell you, they can sense pride and they can sense enthusiasm, in what it is that people are doing. You can't hide that stuff. You can't. So whether it's with our own players or whether it's with the guys we're recruiting, to bring the right ones here is going to give us an opportunity to be what we want to be, and that's a top 10 program.
One more for Coach.
What was
This is like a 2-on-1 here. I just you guys. You gonna let anybody else? I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Oh, I know.
What was the trip to Mobile like?
It was, it was awesome, to be honest. To go down there, you guys have asked me a million times before. I don't reflect upon a whole lot of things. I don't spend a whole lot of time. I know you tell me I should, and maybe someday I will, but no, I probably won't either, right? But that trip down there, just standing there at practice, was probably the most proud time I've had as a college coach, and to see those guys out there, to know a lot of the stories of where they are now and maybe where they were, from a Darian Beavers, who unfortunately we didn't recruit, maybe as the first opportunity, to where he is now, I mean, just all of them. I'm not going to single any one of them out. It was probably the proudest moment I've had in quite a while. And if we had not gone down there, I would feel really bad. And so I know they did a great job, and I know, I'm not sure they, in their big interviews and what they were doing, that I know they knew we were there and they came over afterwards. But it meant a lot more to us, I'm sure, than to me than it even did for them. So it was a great day.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
We'll have Coach Gajuli up next here. Questions for Coach?
What? No, I don't got an opening statement. It's the first time.
You've had outside interest past couple of years. How hard was it for you to wait your turn and have this opportunity come now?
Cincinnati's a place I want to be and always aspired when I got into coaching to get back to. So those opportunities come, like Coach said, with the success of the program. And, you coach a guy like Desmond Ritter, it makes you look like you're a really good coach. And, at the end of the day, was it hard for me to wait my turn? No, I thought we had a great offensive staff. We worked really well together. We won a lot of games. And I think at the end of the day, that's why you get into it, is to help the kids and to win. And we were doing all those things, and I felt like I had input. And like Coach Fick said, when I first took the job here, there was a plan from day one. And I trusted him that he was going to follow through with that. And when the opportunity came, he did.
Considering your history, what you did at this school and what you did for this program, is this a dream to be able to lead this offense to the next level?
Just this whole season and this whole run we've been on has been, unbelievable. And, to see our team kind of take it to the next level. There's been steps in this program since I made the decision to come here in 2001. It seems like with each coaching staff, there's been progress and progress and progress. And to see the group of guys that we had graduate last year kind of take us to the top of the mountain, so to say, the whole ride has been unbelievable. And the opportunity to come back here and just be a position coach and to be able to coach the position I played at the place I played it has been a unbelievable experience. And now to take the next step and be the guy calling the plays, it's, yeah, absolutely.
Mike Cummings is coming in as the offensive line coach. You have a long history with him. Was he the guy? I know the way that your careers overlapped at Central Michigan, you were a grad assistant and then got your shot at running backs. Was he the guy that gave you the shot, and what's your backstory with him?
Coach Enos was actually the guy that gave me my shot, and Coach Enos was my quarterback coach here my senior year when Mark D'Antonio was the head coach, and he kind of brought me in. But Mike was the offensive coordinator for Central Michigan in 2010, and I was his GA. And Mike would always send me for dip runs, and he'd cuss me out when I bring back a can of Copenhagen that wasn't fresh enough. And but I learned a lot of football in those 2 years just from the collection of guys that we had on that staff. And Mike brings a certain demeanor when you guys get a chance to meet him, and I think our offensive line will exude that. He's a sharp coach, and Coach Fickle talked about the history he's had developing guys. And we were at the Senior Bowl yesterday. He had 2 guys that were participating in that game. He coached Eric Fisher when we were there, who was I think the last offensive lineman to be the first overall pick in the draft. But his guys will love him. They'll play hard. He's a really smart ball coach and really likable guy.
I'm going to hit you with a two-parter.
Let's go.
Are you staying in the booth, and do you like the quarterback-OC combination?
Yes, I plan to stay in the booth. Quarterback OC, just being the quarterback coach. When Coach Fickle originally made that move after the first season and Coach Denbrock wanted me to go in the box, I was really hesitant just because I felt like, this is going to be my first year coaching the quarterbacks. I've got a redshirt freshman in there taking all the snaps. I want to be able to look that guy in the eye, sit on the bench with him, talk with him. If things were in an adverse situation, be able to, talk to him about it, look him in the eye, make sure he's ready to go. But to our credit, it's worked out. Me being in the booth the last 4 seasons, and I think Dez had a lot to do with that, just his maturity and our relationship. But I just also think it's a little bit easier just to collect your thoughts, get a plan together from up there. So I plan to stay up there. That could change, but right now that's the thought process.
One more follow-up on Coach Cummings. The Cincinnati fans actually do have a recollection of him when he was at UConn, 2014 to 2016. And those are maybe the biggest offensive lines I've ever seen. They were all 6'8", 340 pounds. Is that a philosophy? I'm sure I'll ask him too, but is that a philosophy of his that
he likes big lower bodies? And I know that. I've heard that about a million times, is him talking about guys' lower bodies, which, make what you want of that.
We've seen the same offense under Fickle with Denbrock. Now that you're the guy calling the plays, what offense what will this look like? Will it look any different? And also, have you had any conversations with Evan Prater taking that next step?
Our offense, so I was involved, when we first got here in 2017, it was kind of collaboration of ideas of kind of what this offense evolved into. And each year there's been an evolution based on our personnel. So I think you'll see some similarities in it. I'd like to play with a little bit more pace. I think we got to find some ways in the run game to continue to get the ball on the perimeter. I think our screen game, we need to call it more, but in order to feel confident about it and instill confidence in our players with it, we've got to practice it more, rep it more, and get better at executing it. But those are the things I think more so than wholesale changes. We're not going to all of a sudden become Josh Heupel and run wide splits and go tempo. I think we're built for what we do. We're going to rely on our offensive lines, particularly next year with all those guys back and running the football. Speaking to Evan Prater, it's going to be a great competition. You got Ben Bryant coming back. You got Evan Prater, the hometown kid here. I can't wait to see those two compete in the spring and the fall. They've done a good job up to this point. Those two know each other. Our quarterback room is a great room. I think those guys all respect how each other work and are going to compete. And then when it's all said and done in the fall, like understand, okay, this guy beat me out. I got to be ready to be the best at my role, whatever that is, and whichever way the cards fall. Those guys kind of know, like, I feel like at quarterback, like, this guy won the job, right? I competed my butt off. He competed his butt off. He got the nod. I got to be ready to go because I know at any time those other 10 guys could be looking at me in the huddle, and I'm the one that's going to be leading this team.
You mentioned Ben Bryant there past. You worked with him in the past before he transferred. Can you just elaborate on what's it like to have him back for his final season?
It was just a really unique situation, just the whole, he came into a situation where he was a year behind the guy who won the third most games in college football history as a quarterback. And I can't think of a worse situation for a guy to be stuck in. And Ben was talented. Our offensive coaches felt great about him, confident in him to execute the offense. I think the guys in the huddle felt the same way. And to Dez's credit, we would ask Dez to compete almost every spring with Ben for the job. Like, Dez was a starter and won 10 games as a redshirt freshman. Well, next spring, hey, it's an open job. You got to go compete for the job again. And the next spring, we won 10 or 11 more games. Hey, this spring, it's going to be an open job. You guys are going to split reps. We're going to see who the best quarterback is. And then I think finally after we went to the Peach Bowl and, it was like, all right, Ben, this isn't going to work out. But throughout the whole process, there was an open dialogue of communication, and this was before the portal was a thing, and you could graduate or transfer wherever you wanted. And our plan was for him to, like, all right, this is the situation you're in. Let's get you graduating 3. You deserve to go play somewhere. You could start on a lot of teams around the country. If we're in this situation after year 3, I'll help you go wherever you want to go. And, after that Peach Bowl, Dez was making a decision whether or not he was going to come back for his senior year. He was going to go early, so Ben was kind of stuck in limbo, like, all right, my transfer, am I staying? My transfer, I'm staying. When Dez made his decision to come back, Ben transferred. We helped him get to Eastern Michigan, which he chose over a lot of other schools that were interested in. And obviously went there and had a great season last year. But Ben's heart was always at Cincinnati. These are where his teammates were. These were the class he came in with. His girlfriend's here. His dad grew up in Deerfield Township, I think. He didn't want to leave Cincinnati. It was just a situation that he had got stuck in, and he wanted to play football, which I don't think you can blame the kid.
Getting a couple big tight ends back, you bring in the Hawaii transfer Mardner at wide receiver. How important is it at getting Wiley and Lenny back, and then what do you think Mardner could bring to you guys on the outside? Yeah,
Wiley and Lindley got to be a huge part of the offense, and I think we got to do a better job of personnel and some things with those two guys and playing to their strengths and not asking them things that are kind of outside of that. But I think our 12 personnel package last year, gave people some fits, and those guys' ability to run and catch the ball is obviously a matchup issue on defense. Nick Marner was really productive at Hawaii. Obviously, we have a lot of production in Alec Pierce that's walking out the door. Which is why we thought we needed a guy into the boundary that could help us. And, Nick's 6'6", 200 pounds, and run and was really productive at Hawaii. And I can't wait for Coach Brown to get his hands on the kid because I think Coach Brown's got a chance to really improve him, and I think he's got a chance to really help us on offense.
A couple more for Coach Gajuli.
You mentioned Coach Brown. You were really involved as passing game coordinator. He takes that title now. What will his involvement be with the offense?
Coach Brown's a great coach, and I enjoy every day I get to work with him. Great mind, great teacher. And I think since he's came here, I think you've really seen an improvement in our receiving core. Not only the guys that we're bringing in and he's recruiting, but also those guys, once we get him here, him developing them into route runners and all-around players. His role won't change. He and I, last year, for the most part, did most of the passing game, so his role will be very similar. He'll probably have some more scripting duties when it comes to practice and whatnot, but really respect Mike. I'm glad I get another season to coach with him.
Any other questions for Coach Gaduli? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Next up, we'll have Kerry Combs. Thanks, sir.
Now listen, you got to tell me your names when you ask a question, because I'm going to have a hard time with that, if you don't mind. That way I'll at least know who the heck I'm talking to, which would be helpful. How are you doing? I'm doing fantastic, Jim. Good to see you.
Remember him.
Well, it's an easy one, you know. That guy getting up here where Gino is, so.
Justin Williams from The Athletic.
Hi, Justin.
Just tell me a little bit about your relationship with Coach Fickell and, you know, how that might have led to you coming back here for this position now.
Well, that's completely why I'm back here. I love Luke Fickell. You know, I got to coach with Luke. I got to see him as a dad, first and foremost, and a husband, as a man. And I love Luke. And Luke and I have been friends since the day we met and have had a great connection since then. And so for me, conversations with Luke about ball over the last few years. I mean, we came down here and visited with him in the offseason last year, and just I love Luke. I love his energy. I love his passion for the game. I love his toughness. I love everything that he stands for. I love the fact that he's a winner, and so that's why I'm back here. You know, I love being around Luke. I really do, and so I'm excited about that.
Coach Chad Brendel, Bearcat Journal.
Hi, Chad.
Partners with Tim Adams.
Yes, sir. Good for you.
How much did you get a chance to pay attention to what Luke had been doing down here since he got here? And secondly, what does it mean to you to be able to get back closer, to be back in Cincinnati?
Sure. Well, first thing is we paid close attention to them because they're playing such great defense. And then we had one crossover opponent, which was Indiana, so we watched the film of their game because we played them afterward. But studied them in the offseason last year. It's a dynamic defense. I think it's a defense that is built for the style of offensive play that you're finding in the country today. I love how hard the kids play. I love how well they tackle and run to the ball. And you know, we were talking with Coach Tressel yesterday. I was talking about, you know, we got to get guys on a play hard board. The play hard board is where it all begins and ends. And it really doesn't matter about a lot of other things. It's about the play hard board. And so I love that kind of attitude, you know, about how we're going to play defense, how they do play defense here. And I'm excited to be a part of that.
Kerry, Keith Jenkins with the Cincinnati Enquirer.
Hi, Keith.
Cincinnati's losing 2 All-American corners.
Yeah.
How much are you excited by the challenge of replacing those guys? And also, have you had an opportunity to kind of dive into who you're inheriting, maybe Arquan Bush and those other guys?
Well, absolutely. Had a great chance to see those kids work out today in an early mat drill. You know, it didn't officially start until yesterday, but I've had a great chance to watch some of their film. Now, a lot of it is practice film, right? Because they didn't get as much game time experience as those 2 kids that are going to be drafted. But they've been in a room with guys who are playing at the highest level in the country, and I think that that's really, really important. They understand what that looks like. They understand what the standard is at the University of Cincinnati, and I got to tell you, it's a good-looking group, and I'm excited to coach them. I'm excited to work with them. I like their energy, their demeanor. I like everything about them. So I can't wait to get in there and really get practicing.
Hey, Coach Combs, Neil Meyer with the Front Office News.
Hi, Neil.
We're, as Keith mentioned, losing 2 All-Americans. What's been your first impressions of this defensive backcourt as well as 4-star J.Q. Hardaway so far? Well,
it's a good core, and all 3 of the freshmen are going to be very, very talented players here. Not just J.Q., although he will be. It's a long group by and large. It's a fast group. It's a physical group. And it's a competitive group, and so it's fun to be around them right now and to watch them. I can't give you a great evaluation of everything about them yet because that wouldn't be fair, but I'm really excited about what I see.
There's a long list of great Coleraine players who have come through this door and really made a strong impact.
Huh?
I feel like are started there with you, maybe. I mean, how cool is it, at least from afar, to see these Colerain guys come in here and make a strong impact here for Cincinnati?
Well, there was a time in when we were here the first time around, we had 5 kids from Colerain and 5 kids from Elder, and those kind of tough West Side kids, that were just lining up and playing ball, and I know how Luke feels about them, and so I'm very proud of the Colerain kids that are here. That's my school. That's where I grew up. I'm born and raised in that community. My children went to that school. My wife went to that school, and so I'm proud to see those kids play and compete like they do, and excited for that. And I love the fact that we are recruiting Cincinnati kids and Ohio kids and tough kids and lining up and playing ball. And that is really exciting to me, because I don't think there's any better high school football played anywhere in the country than there is right here in our backyard. And we're going to find good, tough, hard-nosed kids and line them up and play, because it means a lot to them. It means a lot to them to play for their city. And I'm excited about that, really excited about that.
Corner's the flashy one that everybody wants to talk about, but Coach Fickle's a special teams guy.
Yes, he is.
You're a special teams guy. This has been an outstanding special teams unit.
Right.
How excited are you to continue what has been built? Because you don't have to rebuild special teams here. You have to keep it going.
Special teams is all about effort and attitude, right? It's effort and attitude. It's 4 to 6, A to B. It's going as hard as you can, actually, and special teams plays are more like 10 to 12, A to B, right? They're longer plays. But it's the gateway to playing. It's the gateway to playing offense and defense. If you're not playing special teams, you don't deserve to play offense and defense. And so that level of competition to get on the field, whether it's covering kicks or being on the punt team, that's critical here. And it's valued, and it should be. And I'm excited to be working with that group as well. It gives me a chance to stand in front of the team and talk to them, and I love that. And Luke is passionate about special teams. He's going to coach punt. He's going to coach kickoff. That's awesome. That's not changing. And so we're fired up to be working on special teams as well.
Recruiting wise, you obviously have the local background, the state background. At Ohio State, you have to recruit nationally a lot as well. And I know that's happened everywhere. But how do you think that will help you, and how will you carry that over to Cincinnati? Your experience recruiting nationally at Ohio State.
I think that we're going to recruit the best players in the country to play at the University of Cincinnati, because we're one of the best programs in the country, and so we're not going to shy away or back away from recruiting anybody. Obviously, our emphasis is going to be local. It's going to be the 50-mile radius and then the 300-mile radius. But there are great players that have great interest in Cincinnati football. They saw an awful lot of good ball on national television played by the Bearcats this year, and kids want to be a part of that, and they should want to be a part of that. There's 6 kids at the Senior Bowl. There's going to be a lot of draft picks. It's an unbelievable university and a fantastic town. There's no reason why anybody should back away from being excited about playing at the University of Cincinnati. We're going to be recruiting, the best players in the country.
Any other questions for Coach?
What last year Coach talked about with Coach Tressel coming in, bringing fresh eyes, and it was a defense that had a lot of success, but what could he bring to elevate it and help it? For you, what do you feel like you can bring and elevate, whether it's special teams or the cornerback room?
I think that already, today and yesterday, and having conversations and learning the defense as they play it, and learning the terminology, that they don't need a lot of help. My job is to coach my position and coach them really, really hard. Try to, as you said, put different eyes on things. Maybe, Luke, we talked a lot about, what are things, how are people attacking us? What do you see from the outside in? That kind of stuff. And we'll have great conversation, but that's a great defensive mind. And so is Mike. And so I'm excited to be working with them and learning from them.
Any other questions? Thank you.
All right, you guys have a great day.
Right. What can I do for you guys today?
Hey, Coach. Justin Williams from The Athletic. Gino let us know that you used to send him on dip runs at CMU. Can you tell us a little bit more about your background and relationship other than that?
Okay, I can neither confirm or deny that first statement, okay? I actually don't remember that. I think you might have made it up, okay? But actually, Gino and I had worked together And it's a little bit of a role reversal right now. It's really exciting to work with Gino the way he is right now. I mean, he's not the same guy that I worked with before. He's really a great offensive mind. He's got a great feel for the game, and that's pretty exciting. And as I knew him as a younger coach, he really had a lot of insight into the game. I'm not surprised that he is where he is and doing what he's doing right now. It's really exciting to get back with him because it's kind of like you take a little bit of break and you come back and you see the person you think you knew professionally, and it's really grown, and it's really exciting to be with him right now.
Mentioned when I was talking to Coach Gaduli that Cincinnati's actually more familiar with your work from Connecticut, being in the same conference. Those offensive lines were maybe the largest humans I've ever seen. Is that your recruiting philosophy? Is just get them as big as you can get them and figure it out from there?
Well, I think that may be an oversimplification to get them as big as you can get them and see what they can do. I think there has to be some athleticism in there, but I don't think there's anything wrong with having big offensive linemen. I think we see it every week, and you get them as big as you can relative to the jobs they need to do. And yeah, I mean, you like being around big guys, and they got to be bigger than me, first of all, right?
So you like Lorenz Metz when you walked in and met Lorenz?
Yeah, I did. And when when you have to really look up and see the player, it's good news. Particularly if it's me and I look him in the eye, there's a problem, right?
Keith Jenkins from the Cincinnati Enquirer. Pleasure to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Just for Cincinnati fans who may not be familiar with you, you mentioned people are familiar from UConn and your recruiting philosophy, but what kind of coach are we getting, and what are you hoping to bring to the Cincinnati program?
I think it's kind of hard to describe what kind of coach you're getting. I mean, are we going into exactly what I do on the field? Because I think you probably got to watch that one and just cover your ears a little bit. I really I have a great passion for football, and I have a great passion for blocking and protecting the rest of the team. And it's a little bit of a protection thing, really, right? I mean, I derive a lot of satisfaction in seeing other players do well. And making sure that the offense runs the way it's supposed to be run. I take a lot of pride in helping the other coaches, as much as I can. I'm not really big into the spotlight. I mean, this is a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for showing up. I get to talk to somebody, but that's what I'm about. And that's what I want to do. I want to host Coach Fickle and Coach Gaduli with the offense and do as much as they can. That's really what I'm about, and just making sure that the players have what they need to get better and to be able to produce and stay at the highest level, and the high level they've been at.
Neil Meyer with the Front Office News. You just mentioned the productivity and staying at that high level. What's it like having an offensive line that's so experienced, and what's your first sights on being able to see them this offseason?
Well, it's awesome, first of all. You got a lot of experience on the offensive line. I mean, there's probably going to be some differences in philosophy and how you do a particular thing, but at the end of the day, it's knock them off the ball or go ahead and dictate the rush, whichever one it happens to be. And it's fun to be with a bunch of guys like that. And actually, today was the first day that I was actually see the work ethic of the offensive line and the team, and that was exciting. And these guys love to work. Okay, they love to work. And it's very exciting to get with a bunch of guys who are experienced that love to work, because good things are going to happen when that happens. We get a collection of guys. And one of the other things that happens, and it deals with the culture that Coach Fickle's put into place here, is that the older guys work. And what the younger guys see from the older guys is this is the way we do it, and they're going to do it. I mean, imagine yourself sitting behind as a young person anywhere and watching the person in front of you do the right thing or the wrong thing, and you look at that guy and say, that's the way things are done here. So that's really exciting, too. They're back, and then the backups that we need to develop are watching the guys who have a lot of experience, playing a lot of football and a lot of successful football. So that's an exciting time.
Do you have a preferred scheme that we'll see, inside zone, outside zone, stretch, anything in particular that we can look for in a Mike Cummings offensive line?
Yes.
Can you tell us?
Yeah, you just said them all. Okay.
Okay.
Listen. We have to do what the offense dictates and what the defense will give us. And just in talking with Gino and his plans, I mean, there is a style of offense, and I think we have the players for that. But of course, it's always adjusted if there's adjustments on the team. But I mean, look, I think you have to do everything. And do you do everything every day? Not necessarily, okay? I'm not trying to be cryptic on this at all, but if they take something away, you need to be able to do it both, okay? So, look, I love stretch, okay? I love inside zone, and I like pin and pull stuff, and I like gap schemes, okay? That's probably not specific enough, but it is honest.
Fair enough.
Coach Gino, Coach Fick both talked about your success developing players at Central Michigan to play at the next level. What's been the key to that? Why have you had so much success with guys who maybe weren't, the highest rated recruits?
Well, it's development, right? So you have to find the button to push. You have to find what will work. It's not the one size fits all for everybody. I think at one time in my career, I thought everything should be done the same for every player. That's not true. And, what we'll do is find the piece that needs to be developed and develop that. It's not like a magic wand, right? So, you get a really tall guy, he's not going to be the same as a shorter guy. And we work on those, I don't want to say deficiencies, but whatever needs to get fixed, okay? And that's how we develop that. And I think the other piece is we always want to give them the why. Why we're doing something. I'm a Genesis person. If I know the reason why, where it started, I'm really good at it. So we try and give them the whys, how we're going to do things, and we let the player develop from there. And we try, if you have guys who work really hard like we do here, I mean, it's easier to develop them because they want to be good. And I want to take a lot of credit for all with these guys, how they develop. But at the end of the day, they all wanted to be good. And when you have a great work ethic and a great culture, those guys come into the program. So it's a daily process to develop a player. It's not everything in one day. Find the deficiency, work on that, add another layer, add another layer, and add another layer. And I think that's how you develop someone, not just by giving them all the information at once, because we all had to learn how to learn the alphabet and then how to do our, remember this now? Most people can't, right? Remember, I had to learn the alphabet, then do your name. Right? Well, you can't just teach someone to write their name. They have to learn the alphabet first. So, all right. How's my analogy? Is that good? Nobody remembers that, do they?
Any more questions for Coach Cummings? Thank you, sir.
Listen, I want to thank you guys for not asking me any questions about math or Spanish. Thanks.
Spanish.
Next here, Coach Stewart. And then I have to dip out, guys, to thank you. We have pizza for you. It will be...
Yeah, fired up to be back.
Walt, I'll get started. Chad Brendel, Bearcat Journal. I see the smile already.
Yeah.
What does sitting at that podium and wearing that C-paw mean to you?
Wow. It's awesome, coming here in 2008 and then having the opportunity to coach here, really 10 years later, it's something that's it's a pretty awesome feeling. So, coaching football, you kind of, do your thing, and to be able to have the opportunity to come back here and coach, it's a pretty good feeling.
Keith Jenkins with the Cincinnati Enquirer. Pleasure to meet you.
How you doing?
You've seen this program grow from afar. You started this thing, you left, but how is it being back here after seeing the growth and now having a chance to be a part of it, getting even further up that ladder?
Well, it's pretty impressive what Coach has done here, especially with the culture. Just the development of the facilities, the pride that the guys have, in playing here and graduating from here. It's something that is really exciting, being on the outside looking in and watching this thing grow. So, I'm just fired up to have a chance to add to it, and kind of, bring whatever I can bring to help, keep pushing this thing to the next level.
Neil Meyer with the Front Office News. You mentioned looking on from the outside in, last year you had linebacker core led by 2 veterans, Joel and Darian. What's it been like having that knowledge as a coach, looking in at all the younger guys like Jaheim Thomas, Deshaun Pace, and all the younger guys?
Well, it's a lot of good clay to work with. This morning we had a chance to, finally get around the entire team and see guys move around and see guys get after, see them compete, see them sweat, and to see the physical development of the different players. It gets you fired up as a coach to be able to, now help them develop, mentally and as players to help them go to the next level. You can see the physical development. But, to be here and have a chance to help them out, football-wise, it's pretty good. It's pretty exciting.
Any job here is something you've had your eye on for a little while now. Take me through the drive to Cincinnati as you were coming to meet with Coach Fick. What's going through your brain, and then that meeting you had with Coach Fickle that ended up in you being back?
It was a time change, as I was heading up back to Ohio from Arkansas. And, once we were able to get together and kind of, just talk about the program and just, talk about everything on the way up, just thinking about all the connectivity that I have, to the university and really to Ohio in general. Since I've been coaching football, I pretty much have been everywhere but the Midwest, whether it's in Florida, Tennessee, New Jersey, being out in Virginia, I've been all over the place. So, thinking about finally being able to, making an impression here in Ohio, be around family and, be back here at UC. Again, it was quite a bit to wrap my mind around, but, I'm definitely thankful for the opportunity to be here.
Justin Williams, The Athletic. Fick was telling us about a conversation you guys had 2 or 3 years ago, when he kind of first got to meet you. What do you remember? Like, how did that conversation come about, and what do you remember from that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually met Fick in 2017. It was a mat drill. I was working at Eastern Kentucky at the time. So you kind of fast forward, from there. And, we just talk, football and, what's next. And, I do want to be a head coach one day. That's something that I have, tried to position myself and strive for throughout my career. And I know he's aware of that. He know that, I plan on, trying to obtain, more than just being a position coach. And that's kind of what the conversation centered around. And, throughout our relationship over the years, that's something that he's always been aware of. And, I really appreciate him, still thinking about me, when things kind of, the staff kind of shook up a little bit. And with him knowing that, it meant a lot to me.
Obviously, you can't talk about specifics, but when you've started to get on the phone and talk to kids, are you blown away at how different the perception is of this program from when you were in that position? And 2008, nothing had happened yet, and now it's playing for a football playoff team that you're selling.
Well, it's interesting because I always talk to Lambert, and I tell him that we need to somehow categorize the different phases of Cincinnati football, right? Like just the different eras, in which when I played, where we were kind of, picking it up, and then, up until this point where, the guys are in a good situation. So, it's just one of them deals that you just try to add to it. You just try to add to it.
You're obviously familiar with this team being at Temple the past few years. What was it like, as an opposing coach, kind of watching and game planning from the outside in?
It was, it's football, right? I mean, eventually you got to put the ball down and you got to play. So, being there, it was a good matchup. The schools are very similar. The players are kind of got that grittiness to them. So it definitely was a game that I always looked forward to, competing in. And, you always knew that the guys in red and black were going to bring it. So that was something that was always exciting and preparing, to play these guys.
What can you tell us just about the position? I know, Coach Mason handled snipers. Are you just doing snipers, or are you doing more as the outside linebackers coach?
Yeah, so I'll primarily work with the snipers, and then I also will help, with some pass rush stuff here and there, with guys, walking up in the line of scrimmage and things like that. So, but the snipers will be primarily my group, my responsibility, get those guys going, and then I'll be able to help, in between with some of the pass rush things that we may do. And then as well as, with ideas and, drills and stuff like that in the back end. So I'll be kind of, working back and forth between the front seven and the back end.
I know you and Scruggs are kind of similar age. Did you know him at all previously? Ever cross paths?
So we never really crossed paths, but, with Danny Milligan being here, I know that they were teammates, at St. X, I believe. So I kind of always knew of him. I don't know if he really knew of me. He was a big-time recruit. I kind of was a developmental guy. So I always knew of him. And then in coaching, I had a chance to meet him and, introduce myself to him, through the crossover years and things like that. So we finished school the same year. I just found that out the other day. So he went on to go play, and then I kind of got right into coaching.
How cool is it to come back and see Gino and Benz and all this flavor that has kind of been running through the program for so many years?
It's really neat. It's really neat. Just to see guys, wearing a C-Paw that take a lot of pride in it. That's something that again, Coach Fickle has done a wonderful job of culturally of building that pride. And then when you see guys like Gino and Benz, wearing the colors, you know what it means to those guys. The blood, sweat, and tears that they put into the program. And they know the same thing about me as well. So that's something that's really awesome. And that they're going to do whatever they can to put their best foot forward.
I don't want to forget Pat, get myself in trouble.
Yeah, and Lambert as well.
Couple more. Anybody?
Good.
Thanks so
All
much.
right.
Thanks, Walt.
guys.